Hey everybody, John McLaughlin with the Iowa Firearms Coalition and a very special announcement. The IFC is partnering with a couple of great guys, Ed Monk and Adam Winch, along with myself, to offer what we're calling the IFC Educators Academy, Present, Trained, and Willing. And this is going to be an event 15, 16, 17 August of this year, held at the Crossroads Shooting Sports in Johnston, Iowa. It is open to 18 educators. Now, that could be a cook, it could be the algebra teacher, the bus driver. We're looking for folks that are willing to get some solid training on firearms and learn more about the history of the active shooter threat that has been going on for multiple decades here in the U.S. So, Ed Monk, let's start with you first. Why is it so important that not just the teachers, but anybody that's involved, the school staff, send somebody to this course and get exposed to, what you've done research-wise, and then also getting into the live fire training?
Well, it's pretty obvious that schools in general across our country have been failing horribly for 40 years. What we have been doing in the past has been failing. That's why we have high numbers. So we have to do something different. And what math shows us is that really the only way we can expect to have low numbers is if the intended victims, the people there, fight and stop the active shooter. So it's clear we can't call somebody who's not there to come do it. So they have to do it. And when we send our kids to school and put them in the hands of the school staff is responsible for their safety. So this kind of training will better prepare them to do what math shows us they have to do, which is fight the active shooter when he shows up, not call somebody to come do it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. That instant response in that first 30 seconds to minute, as you'll see when you come to this course, is so critical to keeping those numbers down. Now, Adam, you've been a cop, a police trainer, a member of the military, and some of the pushback I've already heard when the word of this is getting out is that you can't expect to take somebody who's not a cop or not a military person and teach them something meaningful in a 3 or 4 day period. What would your response to that be?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. You, Ed, and I do that all the time. We're able to take literally completely Joe Jane civilian, never have touched guns in their lives, and within a several day period, get them easily up to the task of being able to use that gun very, very well defensively, but also in a offensive manner if you have to, right? In the same way that a cop would if they had to. And so it's a very easy task. The biggest thing, as part of the mantra you said, ready, willing, train. And it's finding those that are willing within their heart, ready to get the training and willing to engage themselves mentally and emotionally into this. And once they do that, once they've committed to it, a good professional can get them highly squared away very quickly to where they can go save lives. Because Ed's completely right? We have no time to wait for the cops. Somebody right there at the scene has to be the one to do it. That's the only way we save life in this case. So therefore, take those that already love those kids, they're already there, they're willing to get the training. We can spin them up very quickly with a high degree of skill in a very short, compressed time frame, and that's how we save lives.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things we've heard from law enforcement is they're worried that when they show up, they may shoot the wrong person. And Ed, I know you've heard this over and over.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
It's possible, but the mathematical chances are extremely low because the whole reason we want the staff of the school to be armed, selected members that are spread out geographically, is so one of them, at least, preferably two, are close enough to hear or see the first shot and can end it within the first 30 seconds. That's the only thing that'll get us low numbers. If school staff ends this fight within the first minute, it'll be long over by the time the first cop gets there. And that's not any criticism against the cops. It's a criticism against our country's system that brings the cops there, which requires somebody to make a phone call and then that to turn into a radio call and then for them to travel. So it's very unlikely to happen because what we are proposing is a plan that the shooting is over well within the first minute, and we're already treating casualties and prepping casualties by the time the first cop and ambulance shows up.
All right, and that's an excellent point. So part of this 3-day training will be a module on, a stop the bleed type of thing, using tourniquets, wound packing, chest seals, things like that, so that we can, as you call the miracle of modern medicine, can take place while we wait for the good guys to show up. Now, Adam, one of the things both you and Ed have taught in your classes is actually going through scenarios, sorting out the good guys from the bad guys and putting shots on target. Talk to us a little bit about that. How do you train something like that in an environment where, we're still only going to be shooting one way. We're not really going to have people shooting back us, maybe with laser guns or something like that, but not live bullets.
Well, I mean, in a real life environment, it's usually pretty easy to distinguish who your bad person is, right? There's ill intent and it's obvious, right? We don't just shoot people to shoot people. You've got to find the right person that needs to be addressed. So the same thing will be done in this training. It's going to be pretty obvious who it is that you need to address, or at least the sounds of where this is coming from that you need to go to. And then you've got to determine who that is, right? As the person's going through the training. Yet that is not a hard thing to do, because evil does stand out. People with bad intent seem to show themselves even in crowds of people. They tend to be the ones that aren't laying on the ground, that aren't, surrendering in some way. They tend to be the ones doing aggressive action. And in a shooting, the large majority of people have either fled, gone to the ground, going away, something. They're not showing aggressive action. So when you see aggressive action, that's a pretty good indicator that's something you need to pay attention to and might need to address. So it's also easy to incorporate into training.
And the other argument we hear is that, I don't know why that's echoing, but one of the arguments that we hear is that there's not a lot of cases of good guys stopping a fight like this. But I was just reading the other day more details on the Eli Dickens situations coming out. So here's a guy, just a guy, not a ninja, not someone who had much training, goes into the mall in Greenwood, Indiana, with a Glock that was partially damaged from falling on his motorcycle in an accident, and puts down the threat with great accuracy in a short period of time. Ed, you know a little bit about this case.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Armed citizens have never shot the wrong person, because this will be stressful, of course, for anybody, a cop or a citizen, but it's really, especially in the first 30 seconds, it'll be mechanically simple. It'll be pretty obvious who the active shooter is. The armed citizens who have stopped active shooters have never shot the wrong person, either by misidentifying who the active shooter was or by positively identifying, but then shooting wildly and missing. Now, cops have done both of those things. And armed citizens haven't. So they've actually got a better track record, and armed citizens have a very high hit rate. But yeah, in fact, that Eli Dickens, what you're talking about is he shot and ended it in 15 seconds because he was there, he had a gun, and he was willing. And then he went and found an unarmed mall cop, explained what happened. Cops will shoot the good guy by mistake. Well, if cops were there when the good guy had his gun out, the cops could have stopped it. But that's the whole reason we want armed staff, is cops generally aren't going to be there when it starts.
A bit of your audio dropped out there, Ed, but we definitely got the point on that. So I appreciate you guys being involved in this. We look forward to having you up to Iowa in August. For folks that want to sign up, I'll put the link here below on this video. But it's Iowa Firearms Coalition. It's iowafc.org. Go to our events page and you'll see a link there for the IFC Educators Academy. Again, it's open to 18 people. The Iowa Firearms Coalition is offering $18,000 in grants. That'll cover the class tuition. All you need to show up with is yourself, your firearm, your ammunition, and a place to stay in Des Moines. And then we'll take care of the rest, and we'll have some discount codes to pass on to you to get you geared up properly with holsters, mag carriers, stuff like that, even a discount on ammunition at the range. So we appreciate you two guys being involved in this, bringing your expertise to Des Moines, and we look forward to a great training session. Hopefully that will be that first seed that germinates in Iowa and gets us spreading across the country.
Thanks, John.
Sounds good, and looking forward to it. I think this is going to be an excellent thing, and proud to be a part of helping with this.
Same here.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.